A warm welcome to today's session where I'm going to be showing you 5 easy, fun ways to switch maqam in Taqsim. If you don't know me yet, or if you're new to my world, hi, my name is Maya Yusuf. I am a qanun player, composer, and I'm also a maqam and qanun mentor for Arabic music enthusiasts who want to master maqam, recognize it by ear, and play an authentic taqsim. So let me know in the comments where you're watching from, if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay. Also do let me know, I always love connecting with people. So let's just get to it, shall we? So let's just start with why switch? Why switch in the first place? Well, simply because Arabic music is not static. Arabic music is constant motion, yeah, and that constant motion is what gives it authenticity. If you don't switch, or as we call it in musical term, if we don't modulate, hey Andrea, hello, if we don't modulate, yeah, which means switching, then your sound is going to be inauthentic, yeah. And switching is an essential part of Taqsim, yeah, and it's basically one of the key pillars for Taqsim. So here's why to switch. Now let's just quickly run through where to switch. So if you haven't watched the video about the structure of Taqsim, then go and watch that. Taqsim has 3 parts. The opening part is where you introduce the heart of the maqam, and then the second part is where you switch, where there's a lot of action, and then the third part is where you return to the point from which you started. So if you think about it as a story, so it's like the opening of a story, then the middle, there's a lot of action, there are a lot of peaks, there's a lot of drama, and that's where modulation happens. And in the end, there's a closure, you just circle back to the point where you started from, okay? So modulation doesn't happen anywhere. It happens exclusively in the middle part of your taqsim, yeah? And that applies whether your taqsim is 30 minutes or 30 seconds. It's always the same. So, so ready for the 5 easy tools to switch. First of all, another just clarifier before we dive in is that you never switch a full maqam, okay? And now today I'm just gonna build on a video that I've done in the previous weeks where I showed you the most popular maqam in Arabic music, Bayati. Here it is, meet it again. So very briefly, this is the most important part of the maqam. So Bayati, that's the root, and then you have the building block below the root, which is fixed and completely dependent on what is in the root. And then you have an option of either rast or nahwand. I'm not gonna go into it now because I have a lot to cover, but go back to that video. So so here's Bayati, yeah? When the 99% of the population thinks that you switch the whole thing. No, you don't switch the whole thing. The only part where you switch is in the branch. So the root and below the root remain intact, okay? So you don't switch all of the pieces of the puzzle, you just switch what is happening in the branch. Only that. And I'm going to show you a very, very simple way to do so. So modulation doesn't happen throughout the whole chain. And remember, maqam is not it's a scale, it's the chain, yeah? Doesn't happen through the whole thing. It happens only exclusively in the branch. Obviously, you can switch from the root, but that will happen within the context of like a longer taqsim, yeah? So I'm not gonna cover that now, yeah? So what we need to think about now is that this stays the same no matter what happens, your root and your below the root. Cool? Okay, so now with that said, let's talk about modulation options. Most people think that you sort of, like you're improvising and you are in the, in your creative impulse and you just come up with stuff on the spot. That's not the case. Why? Because your modulation options, aka the building blocks to switch to in the branch, are completely, utterly fixed. What does that mean? So this comes to, I think it may come as a surprise to many of you. They're fixed. You can't change them. You can't invent new ones. They are fixed in Arabic music. So that means that you just need to know your options. I call them modulation pathways. Just know your modulation pathways and then pick the ones that you like the best and switch to them. Very easy. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to teach you one key, a must-do modulation pathway in Bayati. So, again, so this is the core structure of Bayati. Remember, the change is going to happen only at the top of the ladder. Here, nothing changes. So, if Bayati is going to switch to something, guess what is it going to switch to? It's going to switch to Hijaz. So listen to it. Let's actually sing it. So here's Bayati. And then Hijaz has that big step. And remember the steps, the musical steps of the interval is what gives a maqam its identity. Cool? So if Bayati is going to switch to anything, it will switch to Hijaz in the branch. And that will, so basically a Bayati in the root plus Hijaz in the branch equals something called Bayati Shuri. Cool? Okay, so now I have taught you, I've given you a few just, heads up about how to think about modulation, why do modulation in the first place, and I've given you one key modulation pathway for Bayati. This is not just key, it's a must do. So if I am doing, if I am improvising in Bayati, 100% of, just basically 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to do a switch to Hijaz in the branch. Okay, so now that I told you what it is, let's just go into how. So how to do that. So number one, well, I've given you the number one. You need to know your modulation pathways. Yeah? So all you have to do is know your modulation pathways and pick whichever you like the best. Two is know your anchors. What does an anchor mean? So in music theory, you call it the tonic or the note of resolution. So in building blocks, in Maqam building blocks, you have two anchors. So you have your tonic, which is the root, the first note that you start the building block from. So if it's Bayati, then it's that's your anchor. And then you have a secondary anchor, which is very, very important. It's the fourth, it's the last note of the building block. We call it the ghammaz. Say after me, ghammaz. And ghammaz means the note that winks. And so your first anchor is the tonic. You can call it note of resolution. So it's my last note in the building block is the ghammaz. Why is the ghammaz so important? Why? Because it's the point from which you switch building block. Yeah? You don't switch the whole thing. You just switch the branch. Yeah? So if I am improvising, if I am here, say, if I am doing if I am here and I want to switch to Hijaz, what I do is hover over the ghammaz, which is basically, the end point of the root and the starting point of the branch. and switch. So for example, I'm just going to show you that in practice. So say I open the Taqsim. That's the opening. Okay, so now I'm going to emphasize the ghammaz. So I'm really drilling it, I'm really hovering it. And then that's the nahawand. Bayati. Now we'll go back to the ghammaz. So all I did is hover over the ghammaz because it's an anchor and use that anchor to switch. Yeah? Very easy. So basically all you have to do is basically ascend from the ghammaz, from your anchor, because look, so here you have three anchors. You have your note of resolution, you have your ghammaz, you have your note of resolution 1 octave higher. Yeah? So what you're gonna do is you're going, so you know the game where you have dots and you have to connect them? You're gonna do the exact same thing. So you're just gonna go from here and then switch up, all the way up to the tonic 1 octave higher. Yeah? So, but first you must emphasize it. Very easy. Anybody can do that. Cool? Okay, so know your anchors is tool number 2. And then tool number 3 is basically switch from your ghammaz, which I just shared with you how. Okay, so now I already told you that there are 3 anchors. You can also, you know that this is your note of resolution 1 octave higher. It's an anchor. So if I want to switch to Hijaz, all I have to do is emphasize it and then descend with different intervals. Yeah? All you have to do to switch is to alter the intervals, because remember, the intervals is what gives the Maqam building block its identity. Nothing else. So, example. So, instead of ascending with different intervals, we're going to descend with different intervals. So, look. So, say I am... That's the nahawand. So I trickled from the top to my, from the tonic 1 octave higher down to my ghammaz, and then I'll trickle back again to my root. Yeah? So very easy. Anybody can do that. Okay? So that's tool number 4. Tool number 5 is to repeat a building block. Just repeat it. And then once you have repeated it for a couple of times, you switch. And this is very, very important because most people don't give enough time for switching. So it becomes, in Arabic music, it's all about going deeper and deeper and deeper into the flavor of things. Listen to any song by Kulthum. And listen, just pay attention to how many times she repeats phrases. Oh my God, she repeats them so many times. Why? Because, you know, Arabic music is all about going deeper and deeper into the flavor of maqam. So, for instance, I want to switch from Nahawand in the branch to Hijaz. So I'm going to hover here in this region. And once I feel that I have told the listener enough, hey, are you paying enough attention? When I feel that I have drawn the attention of the listener enough, I switch. I just change the intervals. So, okay. So the notes are, I can see somebody asking, so G, A, B flat, C, D. That's your Nahawand. And then G, F, E half flat, D. That's your Bayati. So D, C, B half flat, A, G. That's your rest below the root. And obviously if you want to do rest in the branch, you go G, A, B half flat, C, D. So let's do that. Okay. So let's try the strategy of just hovering and then switching. So if I am to switch to Hijaz, what do I have to do? I have to alter the notes to A flat, B. I don't want you to get attached to notes because, again, you can start Maqam from any note, basically. But just for the sake of explanation, I'm just saying the names of the notes. Okay, so let's try. Bouncing from the root to the Ramaz. Now hovering in the region of Nahawan. How many times did I repeat that? I repeated that so many times. Once I have repeated that a lot of times, repetition is your friend when it comes to Taqsim. And then I switched. I changed the intervals and I landed on the root. So that's a foolproof formula. Again, you must do it slowly, deliberately, because, you know, otherwise the listener will be like, what just happened? You can't whoosh through things. You need to just stay and hover and basically make it very, very noticeable that you're about to switch. Cool? So, hi everybody. Okay, so just to sum up, you always must modulate. You cannot not modulate. 2, modulation only happens in the second part of Taqsim. If you do it in the beginning or the end, it's an absolute no-no, okay? It's a complete disaster. Don't ever do that. Exclusively in the middle part. And then number 3 is that you need to know your modulation pathways because they are fixed. Fixed. There is no creativity. There's no some hidden creative genius. All you have to do is know your options and just pick the ones that you like the best. Obviously, in modulation pathways, there are, again, each makam is different, again. Yeah, so they're not even the same within the makam families, which are variations of the mother makam. So all you have to do is know your options. For Bayati, I shared with you that if you are going to do a must-do modulation pathway, go for this one, for Hijaz and the branch. Yeah, we said that modulation happens only in the branch, nowhere else. These two, the root and below the root, stay intact. If you are going to switch, you can simply need to know your anchors, which are your tonic or note of resolution, and your ramaz, note that winks, which is the point of modulation. And basically, simply emphasize the ramaz and then ascend from, here's the ramaz. Ascend from the ramaz up with a different building block. You can do the flip side. You can go from your tonic, one octave higher, and trickle down. And lastly, you can just hover and hover and hover within the boundaries of one building block. And then once you feel that I have satiated that, and it's very noticeable, it's like you're telling this, hello, I'm about to switch, are you paying attention? Then you switch. So remember to do it slowly and deliberately, and don't just like push through it. I created a 9,000 word guide for Maqam called the Maqam Lego Guide, which has 21 lessons I have learned through 30 years plus of performing and teaching Arabic music. So you can go to maqamlego.com/guide. So I'll type it in and yeah, it's completely free. So you can just simply go there now and enjoy it. Okay, I don't see any. Okay, the basic instruction was incredibly helpful. Okay, amazing, I'm so happy. Okay, thank you so much. If there are any follow-up questions, tag me, I am here. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, make sure that you Let me know your ahas, and you download the free guide. Again, maqamlago.com /guide. It's in your comments now. Have a beautiful day, night, whatever you are. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.